Hello, and welcome to Live Rally Games Podcast. My name is Steven, and I'm back with more Surviving Bloomington content here to talk about episode 9, the second merge episode. And here with me today, I have Rachel. Rachel, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great. And so you're here because you had a chance to meet KC in the Mole, Ohio last year, correct?
Yes. I got to play with Casey at the Bowl, Ohio, and that is partially how I learned about Survivor Bloomington. And he's just such a cool dude. And it was a really fun experience.
You said partially. What's the other part of it?
Oh, wow. I also know Hannah, who is running the show there so far in All Stars as a special guest. Last minute sub, I believe.
Because Hannah was she ran the Mole, Ohio, or she was the MC, right?
Yes. So she was the like on-screen host.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so perfect for her personality. And it was really cool because she is my BFF and she had won the year before. So she passed the crown to me. So it was a very neat experience.
So watching Hannah play Surviving Bloomington, has anything survived you, or you just look at like this is the Hannah I know?
This is the Hannah I know. Her ability to just see the game and navigate these very difficult situations. I mean, that early game, it was like every name she was the vote, right? And every time she made sure that wasn't the case. And we see it happen. I mean, we'll get into it later. Her name's up again. So.
I was scared in the episode, considering we have that confessional first saying, if this is it, and then oh gosh, I'm like, is this really how Hannah goes out in like one or two stray votes? I was gonna be very, very sad.
Yeah, it was nerve-wracking. Because she's usually so confident, and so you see a little bit of like, make the best of it. Like it's been real, yeah, but we'll see.
So what are your thoughts on the season as a whole so far?
I really like it. I've been incredibly impressed with the challenges. I think it's very good balanced challenges. Now that could be because like I'm not a runner, so I'm seeing like, hey, there's not a ton of running. Like this seems like it would be nice. I love, you have a range of puzzles, endurance, balance, and it's clearly an all-star season. I mean, all these players are just so freaking smart and they're thinking at so many levels of the game. They're navigating all those previous relationships. Is someone going to play like they did last season, or are they going to start fresh? Do I play with someone that burns me, or do I cut them off as quickly as possible? And I think one of the things I like most is the twist of the shots of the dark being able. It kind of reminds me of what Survivor CBS attempted to do with their fire tokens, right? But like using it, trying to think of the right word, but see, I was like, did they break shots in the dark? Like, they're using them in a very a fun way. Like it's making it interesting rather than like, yeah, this is just my last shot. I'll use it if I can, and it's probably not going to work. But now with the stealing and borrowing and switching around these, we've seen some great plays from that.
I love its use as a currency, because I think
currency. That's what I was saying.
Yeah, because I think when I saw fire tokens, like, wow, there's so much potential here, but CBS was like weird about it. They were kind of like, we want to put this in, but we don't want to make it too overpowered, and they didn't go all in with making it interesting. And I think shots in the dark is enough of a change to give it kind of that currency like aspect while not letting it be completely broken, overpowered.
Yeah, I like it. It's a good balance.
So if you had to be on a starting tribe in the season, what tribe would you want to be on?
Ooh, the one that had the most people on it. No, I don't. I mean, I would probably end up being a brain. I'm not that smart, but I'm not a brawn, and I don't think I'm a beauty. So, well, I could see myself with brain. I feel like I am a thinker, so I feel like my pitch is gonna be like, look, I can think with you. I can play it off. Let's run through some strategies, some ideas, some scenarios, and get things, and use that as a way to build relationship with people.
So besides Hannah, who else has surprised you or caught your attention?
Ooh, there's so many because I only started watching for Hannah. But there's just so many people I've fallen in love with. So um, some have already gone, unfortunately. But I love Bogey. I mean, Jordan's just running this show. I can't believe just how much they're able to get away with over and
Mhm.
over it again. Like um, I really love Megan. Ooh, which one is she?
Brains Megan or
Bronze, bronze Megan,
Braun
right?
Megan?
Because
Yeah,
Megan Wolf. Wait, let's see.
Megan
Megan
Wolf is
Wolf
yeah.
is bronze.
Hmm.
So I love. Not that I don't like her. I feel, but I like Megan Brains too. She's another one. It's been
Hmm.
interesting listening to Bogey's perception of the game
Hmm.
and people, and I'm like, yeah, he's right. And so every time he kind of makes a commentary about someone, I start paying attention more to
Hmm.
his insight there. And then I like Dallas too. I want to see more of him. We're getting little bits here and there.
Hmm.
Everyone's speaking so positively about him. So, and that was another like Bogey mentioned Dallas. I'm like, okay, let me narrow in, see what's going on here. And I'm always going to be Team Hannah. Like it's, that's never going to change.
Yeah, I too am very biased for Team Hannah, so I will
Yeah.
easily admit that. Um, so, what were your overall thoughts on this episode before we start digging into the details?
There's a lot to sift through. There's so many moving parts that I'm totally fine just going into the details because I feel
Okay,
like all the general stuff kind of ends up contingent on these little
yeah.
details here and there.
So let's jump into the details. So in the last episode, we had Devontae voted out the first merge vote, and
Yeah.
this episode we start by going straight into the Muni challenge. And this is a kind of a balance challenge where players stand in a small balance beam or perch, and they have to balance the ball on a tray, and over time they add more balls on there. Now, this is the twist is that two players will win immunity, one male, one female player. And so that actually makes it much better odds, and especially because the male competitors all drop out very quickly.
Well, yeah. So I was wondering about normally I'd be like, yeah, that seems the most fair to do it by gender, but then it's also like there's more women than men. So then it's like,
Mhm.
man, if you're a girl, your odds aren't as good. But I don't know.
Now, and there's a couple of wrinkles. The first wrinkle is that players get to choose which platform they're going to balance on, right?
Hmm.
And as soon as I hear like players choose this, I'm like, okay, there's some benefit from choosing. And it's
Hmm.
later revealed Dallas finds a challenge advantage in this platform.
Yes, and we don't get to know what that advantage is. Like it's a future.
Yeah, I assume it's like a play on whatever challenge you want kind of
Okay,
advantage.
nice.
But like, I guess my experience in these games is that you get so caught up in the moment of like, oh man, challenge you to focus in. Look at this. You don't think you black out to the world around you. You don't see anyone else because like, if I think what you should be doing, you should be looking around like, what is everyone else doing as they approach their stations? Is anyone like acting differently? Same with like, oh, a bunch of buffs, everyone choose one, right? You always want to say like, who's
Hmm.
doing something different, and that's kind of a heads up, like maybe they found something.
Yeah, no, that's right on. I always assume I'm not going to find something, so I should watch other people to see if they found
That's how I feel as well.
something.
Um, the second wrinkle is that the reason, maybe because we have two immunities, we're also going to a double travel council where two players will be going home in two separate boats.
Mm, that's not what we like to hear as a player. Merge two people down.
Well, it makes this immunity even more pivotal because, like, it's nice being immune for one round. It's even better being immune for 2 rounds, essentially.
Yes, definitely.
And
If you have
then,
immunity, it's good for you.
and the final wrinkle is all advantages persist between the two votes.
Right, which is a little bit unique,
That
I
is
think.
new. So an idol played in the first rounds is counts for both rounds. Shot in the dark can make you lose your vote in both rounds, but also can make you immune for both rounds. I think
Right.
those are the two big like things in contention here: is idols and
Um,
shots in the dark.
I'm looking at that makes it interesting too because normally I wouldn't want to cause too many ruffles.
Hmm.
I that first merge vote, I just want to make sure I make it.
Hmm.
and make sure the people that I'm loyal with vote the same way, and we can move together as some kind of unit.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it's so tempting to do a little bit more. If you know, hey, I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
be immune for 2, or
Mm-hmm.
I can steal a vote for 2, or whatever it's going to be, it's more tempting to get a little
You
crazy
can really
early on.
dictate the flow of these early merge votes, if that's the
Hmm.
case.
Yeah.
Now, let's say you have an idol. Are you tempted? Like, how much do you want to play it if it's like it's a 2-for-1 sale, right?
I think that's very tempting. You don't ever want to use it wrong. I mean, I was surprised me I didn't use it. I think, but like, good for her, man, for
Right.
reading the room and like taking that risk. It's gonna pay off. But if like I can guarantee myself 2 safeties, it's worth it, even if that one's wrong. You know.
You have to commend Mia, right? She's been through 2 double travels. She hasn't played her idol through
I
either of
can't
those
believe it.
travels. And like, I'm now kind of thinking, like, man, is Mia gonna go home with the idol? She's just not gonna play it and go home with it. Like, I'm like, because she has nerves of steel, but like, oh man, maybe I'm just too like spewy by it. I just play an idol. So yeah, get me from 11 to 9, please.
Yeah, I'm trying to sort through like there has to be, and I just haven't figured it out yet. Like she is there's another circle, right? That is
Mm-hmm.
this between red and blue 2.0 that people are protecting her. It seems because she could have been the easy vote if red really wanted to stay strong. Burn an
Well,
idol. But,
I feel like with the Mia is a great vote split target, right?
mm-hmm.
You drop like a 5-4 on her, and she gets a 5, and so she either plays the idol, and doesn't matter because your next target is home, or she doesn't play the idol and she's out with an idol, right? But
Right.
with how the votes break down this episode, I don't think there weren't numbers to be able to do that. It seemed.
Right. Yeah. It seemed, I think people, because they kept saying, did they have like 3 hours of
Yeah, I think
strategy
they
time?
had 3 hours to
So that's like
strategize.
a long time for your nerves to really get, maybe we don't split, like maybe we just go to and
Hmm.
um, so much seemed to be throwing out there that people tried something, backtracked, and
Hmm.
finally let it land where it did. But
Oh, because the theme of the episode is who's the third name. Like
yes,
we
yes,
have
who's
3
the
names out
third?
there, and no one wants to be or is willing to put like that third target out there because the problem is like Boogie's immune and that just immediately wrecks everything.
Mm-hmm. And it if they name a third, that's going to expose their inner
Mm-hmm.
circles, right? Or
Mm-hmm. Everyone wants those side alliances.
you can't hide it.
Um, so in the Muni Challenge, we have Megan Wolf, who won this challenge for season 3. She ends up going head to head against Megan from the Brains Tribe at the very end, but it's Megan from the Brains Tribe pulls out the win, and then it was a Boogie versus Dallas showdown, with
Hmm.
Boogie ended up winning. I think the only thing I wish this challenge is like they had a row that like they've had all the guys stand by each other, all the women stand by each other, so made it much for each to see who's competing against who. But
Hmm.
I get why it's more fun to have them kind of scattered around for the potential
Right.
advantage.
Yeah. No, it's fun. I keep thinking of. Do you think if the other Megan, I'm obvious. Do you think Megan Brains would have been pretty vulnerable
No,
if, or do you think she's gonna hang on?
I don't. Given I think she was too necessary of a. I think she was too much still in the swing position. I mean, she didn't swing, which is interesting. I think she's still too much in the middle. She, Jordan, and Dallas are too valuable of players in the moment to target at this
Hmm.
tribal.
Makes sense. And then we know Bogey would have.
Yeah.
He needed it. I mean,
How
or
would
at
you
least his perspective was
how would you have done this challenge?
C plus.
Not the first, but not the
Average.
winner.
Yeah, yeah. I'm always never gonna give up, but I
Hmm.
don't have that much to give. So I'll do what I can. I'll hang on as long as I can.
Yeah, this challenge
Um,
is easy until you have two balls on two balls on the
yeah,
disc, and you watch
yeah,
them roll to opposite sides. Like,
right.
oh no.
That was hard. I don't know how to manage the two.
Yeah. Props to KC for not doing all the innuendos that Jeff Probst does in the TV show now when they have a challenge like this. So props to
Yes,
KC for the good restraint.
yes. Should that be a compliment? But yes, good
Um,
job, Casey.
so once we get to the post tribal scramble, I kind of want to start by just kind of let's talk through the alliances we see and how they're kind of breaking down here. So
Yeah.
because things sort of are still following along the the not the merge tribes, the tribe swap tribes. So we kind of have the Red 2.0 alliance, and that kind of has two groups of Adam, Rosie, Megan, Wolf, and then Brains, Megan, Dallas, and Jordan. Those six kind of makes up this larger alliance. And then you have kind of the minority, which is Boogie, Mia, Hannah from the Blue Swap tribe. And then you have
Hmm.
Griffin, Stacy from Redemption, kind of trying to figure out where they stand.
Yeah. Man, I felt so bad for Stacy. I feel like she was trying so hard to get her foot in the door, and people just
Mm-hmm.
did not.
Well, I think we'll talk about Hannah's voting confessionals later. I think all-star
Yeah.
seasons are very complicated because people know each other. You have these relationships, and like on one hand, Stacey's right. You know, she is extremely valuable, like from her boogie, because she doesn't have these connections and can very much be a kind of a wild card vote in people's pockets. On the
Hmm.
other hand, people might not see that and say like, yeah, you know, she is less connected and easy to name the push as we're trying to solidify who our core alliances are. It's okay to let her go.
Right. Yeah, and I think even when they were floating, like you see like Hannah,
Mm-hmm.
Mia, Boogie, and Stacy talking, trying to work something out. It's like the numbers still, it wasn't enough,
Mm-hmm.
to really do what they could have tried to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think we hear a lot from Stacey, like especially in her exit confessional, that like not finding Boogie and talking to him and really getting in with him what was a mistake, because I think it would have been much more valuable to the game to have made that connection at the start of the merge instead of like
Yeah,
late.
instead of that 3 hours when
Mm-hmm.
everyone's juggling everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah,
And I think that the group that really needed Stacey was probably Adam, Rosie, Megan, that
that
original
would have been
Braun alliance.
that would have been smart. um, but I think they thought that Red 2.0 was strong enough to last through this. I don't know.
I I
I mean, I
don't
know
even
you see Adam and Megan getting nervous at the beginning.
well
Um,
yeah
I mean,
I
sorry, at the end, right before Tribal.
mhm. No, you get a lot of like Adam and Megan's like, do we play the idol? Do we not? Are we okay? Are we not? We don't know. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of concern going on there, and we get a kind of sense of like, you know, maybe Megan Wolf is pushing forward Jordan vote, but then she heard her name was out there, so she backtracked because she's like, oh no, I'm a target.
Yeah.
Let's just go Stacey, the easy vote.
Right. They had the numbers to stay red strong
Mm-hmm.
and in such a scary, back to back voting. I would have been tempted to not like throw someone in my numbers alliance, not
Yeah.
out yet. So I was curious, like if Megan Wolf had not maybe tried Jordan, was that, was that a tipping factor in her going home, or was Jordan already? We already saw Jordan nervous about Megan Wolf, so it
Mm-hmm.
already fractioning, and did it really matter?
It feels like it didn't really matter. It's interesting because I was last episode I was like really sad for Megan Wolf. It's like, man, she's playing a great job being really shielded by
Hmm.
Adam, but end of the day, Adam was shielded by Megan Wolf. It's like, oh, whoops.
It feels like it always ends up happening, right? That's a Survivor trope, right? We can't get the number one yet. Let's get out the number
And
two.
the true winner is Rosie because no one cares, no one wants to vote for him.
Right. I know. Because Rosie goes up to Jordan like, why are you so nervous? And she's like, I haven't heard your name. He's like, yeah, it's nice. So must be nice. Like literally, people are like everyone's name, but Rosie's sitting pretty.
So yeah, with that group of three, I really feel like they're in such a weird position that they're really dependent on Megan, Dallas, and Jordan, and that like I don't know how like I guess they didn't. I guess they need to do a better job making those three feel very comfortable that they were the top of that alliance. And I don't think, and I guess they weren't doing a good enough job because Dallas jumped ship essentially.
Right.
Um,
And I'm wondering, I mean, I bet also, I mean, it's a toss up because if you do why Adam or why Megan over Adam, like who's going to try to cause the most damage now
mhm.
moving
Well,
forward?
I
Like,
think so because we've seen like there was this blue beauty alliance versus this red brawn alliance, and we saw Devontae going from the beauty alliance. Now we've seen Megan Wolf going from the brawn alliance. I think people are turning on the brains next. We've heard Boogie Ray say, the two people he's keeping an eye out, Megan for the brains tribe and Dallas. He's wary of those two players, and so I
yeah,
can he has connections to Ada. I think he goes down and say, hey, why are we fighting? Let's not do this. The real threat are these people in the middle who are calling the shots, and that's Megan.
yeah, that would be something to
Yeah.
consider.
So I don't know. It's interesting. So despite being the minority with Boogie, me, and Hannah, they have I think interesting connections, right? Because Griffin Stacey are kind of in the middle, and they're talking to them. Hannah still has that her title lines with Jordan, which I think is helping her a lot because I think people are
Yeah,
less willing to throw out Hannah's name because they know Jordan is going to fight for Hannah. So a lot of times when we hear Hannah's name thrown out, I don't think Jordan's in that conversation.
right. Which again just points to Jordan's power over.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's just someone that has power over and over
Yeah.
again. And it's just like so beautiful to watch. To see it unplay. I'm like, man, how is she doing this? Like, I need to take notes on her. But
Yeah, so I guess we should talk about the third name, right? Because that's the whole part of the issue is like, what names do we throw out? Because we're going to do two
well,
tribal councils, and we either have a first target, a second target, and a backup target,
mm-hmm.
right? And the problem is, Mia likely has an idol, and Boogie is
Yes.
immune, and these are the biggest problems of the episode.
Mm-hmm.
And so imagine you're on that red majority alliance. Pretend you're Jordan, or pretend you're Megan Wolf. Like
I'm
who
not worthy. I'm not worthy.
who would you want to maybe target? Who would be your top three on your hit list?
Man, I've gone back and forth with this because I've thought through it. I still think if I guess it depends where I feel I'm in that red 2.0, right? If I
Mm-hmm.
felt like I'm on the bottom, then yes, totally take the advantage of people's nerves and this double.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really one tribal, two people out and mix it up if I can swing the numbers. But
Mm-hmm.
otherwise, it would seem like the easier would be to go, Griffin, Stacy,
Mm-hmm.
Mia. It feels like that would be more what people would cling to and give you the protection to just get through that
Yeah.
mess.
Yeah, I feel like if you're the Adam Rosie Megan Wolf, right, you're in that Braun and 3. I think you really want to see one of me or Hannah going home, and then one of Stacy Griffin going home. I think that would be your ideal. It's like
Yeah.
let's knock
Yeah,
out one of the
because
minorities.
you've seen Hannah go to tribal so many times and you've seen how she's been able to
Mm-hmm.
be used as a number and build those relationships. So she should be, I'm sure people are going to start growing weary of her at some point,
Mm-hmm.
even though she's coming in kind of as a fresh face to this
Mm-hmm.
all-star season. It's like, wait, she keeps wiggling her way out of these situations, and her relationship with Jordan has to be
Mm-hmm.
on people's minds, unless it's just not out yet. But
Yeah. Because if you're Megan, Adam, Rosie, and your end game is us three plus Megan, Dallas, Jordan, right? I think you just want to remove all the swing votes you can to really
right,
force those three to have to stick with you. And if you want there to be a swing, you want those swing votes to be with you instead.
absolutely.
Yeah. Now, like you said, if you're Dallas, Jordan, Megan, maybe it's time to take a second look at your broad alliance and say, do we really want to go far with these people?
Yeah. And
And
people keep talking about Adam and Megan both being, I mean, Megan Wolf seems like, you know, so strong in those
mhm,
challenges. She obviously has the brains too. I mean, seeing some interactions with
mhm,
her and Adam, you know, we've seen her strategy, you know, being able to get an idea of what's going on in the game, reading
mhm.
these relationships. But so, and then
Now,
they keep talking about Adam being scary in challenges. So, I,
not
and he's a
balanced. We
winner.
found his weakness. He's not a good at balanced challenges. Even though
Yeah,
he's going to
not.
threaten you by spoiling Stranger Things to try to knock you off, he's
I
not
know
going to be good at that.
that was so funny.
um, so imagine if you're Megan and Jordan, you're trying to do a coup to take out your Braun alliance structure. Do you do that on the first vote or the second vote?
I would have done it on the second vote
Same.
because then Adam knew to take that risk. He knew he could have been the second vote.
Mm-hmm.
Now, maybe they were hoping he would burn an idol, but then what's so interesting is then Jordan gives him the shot. So it's like, okay, I'm interested in their motivation for that.
You know, I've been wondering about that. I wonder if it's like, trying to have your cake and eat it too. Let's vote. Let's vote with majority. Try to knock it out him, but we'll give him the shot. So when he's back in the game, he's like indebted to me. Or it's kind of like why not? He's going home anyways. This will be with the Curry jury favor. I don't think Jordan expected him to have 4 shots.
Yeah, maybe not yet. And then I at first I thought she was going over there to try to like steal something, like she saw that pass off, or maybe she did see the
It
pass off
seemed
and
that
thought
way. Like she was like she kind of seemed like she was
she's like,
looking down there.
yeah. So I don't know if we'll get a confessional from Jordan next episode to see
Mhm.
exactly their thoughts, but yeah, I don't know. It was interesting. I mean, it was fun. It made for entertainment, right, from an audience standpoint to see it happen the way it did. But I would
Mhm.
have kind of done safe, easy vote, so no one suspects anything, then get them on the second. Unless they really were thinking they could get away with a 2-for-1 deal and get Adam and Megan both out.
Mhm.
It seemed
Yeah.
like that's what Hannah wanted, or was expecting could happen
Mhm.
with her confessional, but I don't know.
Yeah. And then when we look at Boogie, me, and Hannah, they just want to like get through this. They just want to not be voted out.
Yeah. Yeah, that I was most worried for Hannah. And then, yeah, I'm just impressed by Mia's ability to swing through too, even though
Yeah.
that's what started the whole fear and scrambling. It's like her
Mhm.
idol.
Yeah, and so I think we can talk about a couple more players in a little bit more detail. So what I
Hmm.
thought was interesting about Stace's episode is how the struggle to make inroads with players, which is like people just aren't talking to me because her name is out there. People don't want to be seen associated with her, and it's a very kind of sucky situation to be in.
Right. I just hate the. I was thinking like, man, when they told her like, oh, we need more time, and she's like, okay, I hear you. I was like, man, maybe I would have just stayed there. I'm like, no, you've had enough. Let me have my say. Like, let me fight for myself. Like, you
Hmm.
know, and I know I'm vulnerable. Please, like, come hear me out. Come on,
Hmm.
like. But it's so hard when you just know that that's the reality and
Hmm.
people aren't budging at all.
Hmm.
It's
And it
not a
sucks
good
because
feeling.
like theoretically she's working with Dallas and Griffin, but then there's a conversation too, and they're like, "Come back later, please." She's like, That's not a good sign."
No, yeah, that would be so deflating. But props for her. Just keep trying. With the bogey thing, like at least that was something. Like
Hmm.
I was like, she did what she could.
Hmm.
And I loved at least seeing more from her a little bit in confessionals.
And eventually we should get that conversation between her and Griffin. Griffin's like, there is a plan to target Megan Wolf,
Yeah.
we need you to be a part of it.
Hmm.
And
And
so
that was
Griff,
like the little bit of hope, right, for
mhm,
Stacey, right? Okay, they're turning on themselves. Like
Hmm.
maybe I can get through.
Yeah, and Griffin's been a great ally for Stacy.
Hmm.
I think the most unfortunate thing is the fact they played their when they had that, not the sharing is caring idol, but the idol that's to be played by both in tandem.
Yeah.
You know, they played
Uh,
it last episode. And, like, I can't fault them because her name was kind of out there. But it's one of those things like buyer's regret. It's like, oh, if you had played it this round, it would save you two votes, and have been like, it's like, oh no.
right. I wonder if there was so much talk about them having something. Maybe it's like if we just play it, then we can start fresh and maybe these people will trust us more. Like
Hmm.
they know there's nothing hidden in our back pocket and that might give us the inch we need to get in with some of these people.
Hmm. Um, we don't hear a lot from Griffin, but we do see him in the kind of the
Oh,
middle of a lot of conversations.
yeah. I I'm hoping we get to see more from him.
Hmm.
I mean we keep just hearing he's like such a nice guy. So yeah.
Hmm.
And like of course he's got this he fought his way back in. Like I hope he gets a chance to do something and doesn't just go home next.
I thought Boogie had a phenomenal episode in terms of like he was really in profile here, which I thought was really interesting to kind of hear his thoughts in the game. What'd you think?
As I said in the beginning, like anytime Bogey says something about anyone, I take note of it and start watching, and lo and behold, like yeah, he's right, like so he just has a way to read players and read the room. He comes off so confident even when he's not in the best position. I mean, he knew he was safe, so he was able to have like tell it as it is a little bit more so, but and I love how he keeps finding these shots. Like I hope that I'm really excited to wit how he's going to use his shots
Hmm.
when the time comes.
Hmm. Yeah, I. It's interesting hearing him say Megan from the Brain Tribe and Dallas are threats, and
Mm.
that's what makes me worried with the two of them. The fact that you have Boogie being very vocal, right? He sounded like
Hmm.
I went to Megan Sparky on the Brain Tribe and said, "You're playing really hard." She's like, "Uh huh, fist bump," and I'm just kind of like, if someone came to me and said this to me, I'd be like, "I'm a little concerned you're telling me this."
Right. And yeah, and it's interesting. It's like he knows obviously Brains Megan can't go home. So it's like he's clearly putting those seeds in for the future, right? Like,
Though he does pitch Dallas's name to that group, right? The Red Fire is like two people I want to see go home. It's Adam and Dallas.
yeah. And
That was fascinating.
yeah, because you have Stacy, Boogie, and Hannah, Dallas, and Adam. And I just couldn't tell is like, was that real or was that just saying stuff to say stuff because he already,
Yeah,
I don't
well,
know.
especially because like Dallas ends up being the swing vote they need, and so I wonder if like so I'm just curious how like when the Megan Wolf plan came into effect and like how that happened. Because well, my favorite thing about the
Yeah.
Megan Wolf plan, it seems to be a Jordan and Megan from the Braves Tribe plan, but they don't vote for her.
Right? I mean, was it really just they were hiding their tracks? I don't like get hey people, we want this done. Like go
Yeah,
for it. But if
I
it
don't
doesn't
know.
work out, we're covered this way too
Yep.
to try to make sure Adam stays happy if he doesn't go home next or
Yeah. And then, what'd you think about Hannah's confessionals this episode?
it's funny. I wanted she said the thing about the friend, like people just want to play with their friends and
Hmm.
eventually you gotta vote out your friends. Um who do you think the one person was? Or she's thinking Bowie. Would you say it was Bowie or she said there's
Um,
only one person willing not
I don't
to
know.
vote out their
Boogie or
friends?
Dallas? I don't know who that person she was referring to was.
Yeah, I want to know.
I mean, we get to see Hannah being kind of everywhere this episode, right? Very early on, we see there's this large group of red players together, and Hannah's in the middle,
Yeah,
and they're like, "Who are you voting for?" Hannah's just like, "Just please, not me." Smile face, wink.
yeah. She's like knows like please just not don't have me be a pretend name. Don't have to
Yeah.
be a real name. Just let me get through this
And
one.
and like we even hear from her like in her confessional, this is where we get the most about the who's the third person. She's like, who is the third name? I don't know, which means it's me, and that's a problem, and I'm really worried.
Yes. Yeah, this is again, I think the most vulnerable have seen her, um, other than maybe that first vote, that
Yeah.
was getting through that first vote on her original tribe. But
Mm-hmm.
oof, this is
Um,
the first time I was worried.
mm-hmm. In terms of Dallas, again, we don't really hear a lot from him. We see him in a lot of conversations, though, and his position just seems really good.
Yeah, he seems set. He's in multiple circles. He seems to have everyone speaks positively about him. I know Bogey, right, said like, watch out for him and his
Mm-hmm.
social player, and then lo and behold, we see him in his social circles doing
Mm-hmm.
what he apparently does best. But yeah, we don't get a lot of confessional of like what's going on in his mind this
Mm-hmm.
episode.
Yeah, because we don't hear like what leads him to make the decision to target Megan Wolf over Stacy. Well, though we know we have heard that he does really want to see a large brains contingent in the end game.
Yes, we have heard that, and then right. I don't. Yeah, I don't know if he just thought that's best for me or
Mm-hmm.
was convinced by someone else, like, hey, this is best for our group.
Mm-hmm.
Was it?
And then, yeah, I think so. You're from the part. I think it was like the 25-minute mark. We hit tribal council, and there's still 20 minutes
Like,
left the episode. I was like, okay, what are we gonna see here? Um, did you enjoy Boogie's do it yourself immunity necklace?
I didn't notice it
Yeah,
until you had pointed it out
yeah, it's because
in your
I
notes
wasn't paying
earlier.
attention. It's like he doesn't have a immunity necklace, and it's that skull that the Braun tribe found. Put the golf
Oh,
balls in the eye, and like Boogie's,
oh
and
my
because we
gosh.
saw Rosie wearing it in the early episode. Now we see Boogie wearing it around his neck. I was very amused by that.
It's like our little Easter egg. Where
Hmm.
will it be next episode?
Yeah. I don't think there's much to say about I don't know the questions people answer at tribal, but like this is but when we get to the voting, we do get the Hannah's that kind of what you were mentioning earlier of like I know you guys are friends and stuff, but it's time to turn on your friends, and there's only one person willing to turn on their friends right now, and
Hmm.
we just don't know who that person is.
Yeah.
But
And
Hannah was on fire with her voting confessionals this episode.
yeah, which again, she must have gained steam, like whatever went down those last few minutes between her confessional, like at least I get a shower, to
Hmm.
like these spicy confessionals. Although maybe she's like, this is my last shot to entertain, so I'm just gonna tell it how I want it. But
And so in the vote, it ends up being 6 votes Megan Wolf, 5 votes Stacy. And the
mhm.
the Stacy votes are Megan from the Brains Tribe, Jordan, Adam, Rosie, Megan, Wolf versus Hannah, Stacy, Mia, Boogie, Griffin, and Dallas. And it's what's fascinating is that like we did see his vote that was this close. I was not expecting it. I was expecting it to really kind of be like, I don't know, an 8-3 or something like that.
Yeah, that is what
And
I expected as well.
and that Dallas flipped. And like, I don't know. Do you have any more thoughts about this?
I mean, like just hearing you talk, I mean, it has to be Dallas that was the one that was willing to go back on his friends, right?
I
With that
guess like
majority.
just like yeah, like I'm curious. Like I wonder if for Dallas is it more about protecting Stacy, or is it more about taking the shot at Megan Wolf? Like I wonder like what was a priority for him?
Yeah, if it was considering how the votes go next, I would say it has to be like, let's weaken Adam. Like
Hmm.
we might not be able to get them both, but at least let's take out Megan Wolf. She's the real one that's been strategizing and kind of
Hmm.
controlling where things go. And she also makes Jordan nervous, so that can buy favor with Jordan
Hmm.
later, put him more in a middle position.
Hmm. Yeah, what to hear from because it is interesting that like again Megan and Jordan for all their discussion, um, for all their discussion, did vote for Stacey with the Red Tribe, and you're just like, huh? Did Dallas just dump the gun? I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like Jordan. I think Megan and Jordan specifically did that to cover themselves. They realized they had the numbers. Megan Wolf
Mm-hmm.
would go home, and they're trying to walk away without blood in their hands,
Mm-hmm.
even though that's exactly what Jordan wanted to happen. And then especially you see Jordan give the shot, so it's even more so like, hey, Adam, I don't want you going. Like, I still want to salvage this.
Or maybe Jordan and Megan are playing Inception. They planted the idea to vote out Megan Wolf in everyone else's mind, then didn't do it themselves. So like you said, they can they're clean.
Yeah, I would not be surprised if that's how it went down.
We have a comment from Valencia saying that although when she started watching, she only knew Hannah Devante. She's loving the series as a first timer, and I agree. Like for an All-Star season, this has been a very accessible season. I really enjoy Casey coming in with a commentary to kind of understand the context. Like
Mm-hmm.
this is the challenge we've done this season, and Megan Wolf won this challenge that season. Like I love kind of getting more like understanding of like how previous seasons are impacting the season, but still not feeling like a complete mess of like inside jokes we don't understand.
Right. No, it's a good balance. Again, similar. I thought, yeah, I'm watching this to support Hannah. I'm watching this to support Casey, who I just met. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'm so impressed by all these players. I cannot believe it. Like, they're definitely all stars from the beginning.
So, Rachel, it's time to talk about the elf in the room, or maybe the idol in the room, and this is going to be during the vote for Megan Wolf. Megan Wolf and Adam engage in a pass off of Megan's advantages. They're actually pretty sneaky about it, right?
The
There's a little
hat.
bag just on Megan Wolf's right. She's covered by her hat. She picks her hat up. Adam drops his hat on it, and there's an exchange midway through the voting process. What did you
It was
think of this?
beautiful. It was beautiful. I didn't know that it was loud until after
Mm-hmm.
the fact, but I don't I remember Adam saying, I don't remember which episode. It may have been 8. He said, like, I can't walk in with a bag.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone will know. I don't
Mm-hmm.
carry a bag. I was like, well, what are you going to do when you walk out with a bag? A lot of people, I don't know how he's going to hide that. Um, so I can't wait for like the very first early confessionals for next episode to see
Mm-hmm.
that. But I loved it. What threw me off more was the whole Jordan thing. I'm still sifting through like what is she doing?
Yeah, because I've been thinking about like every Survivor Series kind of has had different rules around passing off advantages. So like in Survivor,
Hmm.
Australian Survivor, Brains, Beauties, Brawn are. I think it was Brain versus Brawn. Actually, I don't think there was a beauty try that
Okay.
season. They have a very explicit handoff. The person who's voted out hands their idol to a different player, walks out of the game after the votes have been read, and that person had been targeted because they had an idol. And you're just like, huh, wait, I guess that whole thing didn't work because the idol's still in the game. And then in South African Survivor,
Hmm.
I think they've also had kind of a handoff as well. And I don't mind this as much because it's during the votes. The vote isn't finalized yet, even though
Yeah.
Megan Wolf is kind of reading the writing on the wall. The votes aren't final yet, and like she hadn't been targeted for the idol. Like if she had been voted out specifically because the idol went with Adam, I'd be kind of left a little bit like more bitter. But I appreciate the
Hmm.
fact that Casey kind of leaves the rules vague so players can play around the rules. And
Right.
Megan Wolf is apparently very good about, we heard, asking questions. What are the rules? How does this work? What can I
Hmm.
do?
Like, yeah, again, planning for her worst case scenario.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that it happened during the votes, even
Mm-hmm.
though it was clear this is what's going to happen. It
Yeah.
was like her last move, right? Her
Mm-hmm.
last mark on the game, and then it's like now whatever happens, she can still say like I influenced that. And it reminded me, of course, of was that last season with Dwight going home, and everyone was like, "Why didn't Dwight just give it to her?" And it's like, well, he couldn't, right? So this makes it, weird.
Um, but yeah, and then like the other thing that happens is as soon as she goes home, we see Jordan switch over to Megan's log, and we can't really see, but you can kind of guess she's talking to Adam.
Yeah, and I think I'd ask Casey clarification, like how much talking is allowed to go, because so many times is it's no talking, we're going straight to the vote. What is she handing off? Again, I thought she was maybe saw the bag and was like, I'm going to swipe this idol. You're not taking this out of this. You're going. But that's not exactly what went down. So, yeah, I'm so interested in those live tribal moments. I wish we could see, but hopefully we'll get some confessionals coming up soon to get a sense of what happened.
We learn kind of the credits that in this moment, Adam asked Jordan for shot in the dark, and Jordan gives him the shot in the dark. Was that a good move?
See, I don't know what Jordan's. I can't sense the motivation. Now Jordan's smarter than I am, so maybe like there has to be something there, right? But is Adam really gonna work with Jordan after?
Yes, I think he is.
You really?
Oh yeah, I think Adam is losing Megan Wolf, having his alliance tournament. I think Adam's going to be short of options. I don't think Adam's going to throw away Jordan, especially because she could say, "I voted with you that first vote."
And I gave you my shot in the dark that saved you.
Yeah, so I think Adam will definitely be looking to work more with Jordan going forward.
Well, props to him for not being an emotional player. I would have been so
maybe he will be emotional.
frustrated.
I can't say, but
I guess I would. I mean, he might carry out his anger later, and he might still feel stuck. Like again, because of how the votes went. Again, that's why I do think Jordan and Megan kind of convinced Dallas to be the one to flip. They realized the numbers were there. Jordan gets what they want, and they'll deal with Adam. And I'm really interested in where this puts Rosie too.
Yeah. Yeah. So like, if Jordan's goal was to vote Adam out and was just trying to pander favor with him for the jury, I don't think it's a good move, right? Especially because it ends up being the shot that saves him. Because I don't think she realized she's gonna have 4 shots. She thought like maybe he gets 2, has a 1/3 chance, not like a 2/3 chance. So, but if her goal was to keep him in the game, then I think this was good. It's just a question of like, was it simply jury management she was engaging, or is he seriously a part of her end game? We don't know.
Right. We don't. I feel like Jordan has closer allies over Adam. That Adam's not going to be in her end game. So if Jordan wants to keep Adam, it's more of a shield to save her next vote. Probably not next vote, but following vote.
I agree with that. I think that Adam being in the game is better for her than Stacy, because I think Adam is going to deflect more than Stacy will.
Because Stacy's another number that isn't one of her numbers.
Yeah. I don't think Stacy has any interest in keeping Jordan in the game in the long term.
Which I wouldn't either, but
So we get to the second vote, and this is where we get to another wonderful voting confessional from Hannah. This is, Adam, I don't know if you've heard, but I have a class available, Lying 101. First session is free, on me.
I don't get why she said that though.
I mean, perhaps like there was a lot we didn't see with Adam lying to Hannah, trying to make Hannah feel comfortable that Hannah's not the third vote or something like that. And Hannah's finally like, I'm sick of it. I'm coming for you. I don't know.
That could be, because I know her whole thing was like, I'm gonna play dumb until merge, and so if people are still trying to kind of treat her as dumb, she's like, I'm over this. Like,
well, we have this great moment where she's like, well, we just pile all our votes on Mia, and Jordan's like, no, we can't do that. We have to split the votes. And it's like, oh yeah, you're right.
But it's working for Hannah so far. I was curious of why, for that second vote, Rosie voted Hannah. Do you think
I don't
that
know,
was
and I find that
planned
really
or just his
fascinating.
best guess?
I don't know if
Because
it's
I
like
would,
is Rosie like feels the most threatened by Hannah, or is Hannah was the agreed target for the second vote, or was it like this is kind of like a spite vote? I have no I have no
yeah,
sense of why he voted for her.
I couldn't figure out if it was out of spite for Megan or if he's like, this just went bad. I'm going to just stick to the plan to say, look, I'm someone that votes the way that I say I will vote.
Mm-hmm.
Is he going to be in a vulnerable position or is he still going to be a needed vote and not be vulnerable next? I just, we see so little from Rosie that I don't know who he's going to be closest with to moving forward.
Yeah, I think let's say worst case scenario, Adam goes home next episode, right? Like he
Mm-hmm.
doesn't play the idol for some reason. He's targeting, he goes home, and that just leaves Rosie. I think Rosie will have maneuverability because I don't think people are going to look to decimate the Red Alliance. I think again, Boogie is eyeing that Brains Alliance as a
Mm,
big threat, and so I
yeah.
think Rosie can be scooped up, and then I think he'll have maneuverability. What his endgame looks like, I don't know, but
Yeah.
I
And
don't like. The only way I see Rosie going home is if it ends up being a Rosie Adam split and Adam plays the idol.
mm, yeah. Because we also don't see many people saying Rosie's a threat. And he's one of the few names that weren't on the
Mm-hmm.
chopping block this episode. So, yeah, I think he'll probably be fine. I'm just
Mm-hmm.
interested in how will he be fine? Like who will he vote with? And really, like you said, what is his end game moving forward?
So one thing I thought was I really liked about the second round of voting is we get all these scenes of Adam just sitting there like, what am I doing? What should I do? Like these interspersed Adam like really trying to think through the options, and then we see him grab like a fistful of scrolls. I was like, how does he have that many shots in the dark? And I totally forgot that Megan Wolf had 2 shots and that she left in those as well as the idol.
Yeah, I didn't remember that either, but it was great television. Like the
Mm-hmm.
him how it was cut was
So,
really
question
fun.
to you: would you rather play your idol first and shots in the dark later, or shots in the dark first, idols later?
I would have if I thought, my number one just goes home. I'm gonna expect they're going for a 2-for-1 deal.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's a previous winner. Like I think I would have used my idol and saved my shots
Yeah, and
for the
like,
guarantee.
yeah, because I wonder had he played his idol and voted Hannah, if that would have been enough for Hannah to go home, right?
Mm,
Versus because like again, like when the votes are coming through, it's like oh, like we end up like using 6 votes Adam, all negated. 1 vote Hannah, 1 from the state, so it's just like oh no, oh no. I was like, this is gonna be so
mm-hmm.
bad. um,
And yeah,
and we end up seeing so we get so I'll just share this like so from KC it sounds like there he edited the episode he edited the episode and he's very upfront saying like I edited this not as a documentary but to tell a story, right? And
mm-hmm.
so what happened is the vote tied for the second vote and then there was a revote and Stacey went home in the revote, and it was a tie between Rosie, Stacey, and Hannah, which was
Yeah,
interesting.
right. So we don't know what
How,
the original votes
yeah,
were
and so
and
I
who
think
pulled who and all those side conversations. So I love the perspective of I'm telling a story
yeah,
because I think that's why we care so much about
yep,
these players and
hmm,
like that we don't even know or we don't haven't
hmm,
seen their previous stuff. We're just drawn to them as
hmm,
part because they're cool people and also because of
hmm.
how the editing is done. But I do like, man, I want to just see that live tribal scrambling of this three-way tie and just like heart palpitation. Like, um,
Yeah. So we end up losing Stacy here, and Stacy, this has been a tough game for Stacy, right?
Yeah.
She's on the Brains Tribe early on, where it's hard to find a footing because people are playing with people they know. She gets back in the game, but then like she's able to survive that first double tribal vote. She gets 5 votes to her name and is able to shake it off and get out her target instead. But a clinched idol play does her in, and maybe the answer is if only she had sloughed her vote on Rosie or Hannah, and she was able to if she had the foreknowledge to do that and to break a tie. I don't
Right.
know. It's or maybe I think yeah, I'm with Lindsay. It's just it's rough watching this happen to a player is good. Like I don't know if Stacey's other outs were had she really gotten good with the Braun alliance at the start, or had she really fallen into Boogie from the start, if that could have really changed how her merge game would have went. But it just sounds like a very frustrating outing when you're like, man, people just start talking to me because people just want me
Yeah.
out of here immediately.
Yeah. I feel for her because everyone's, been in those positions where they're like, I'm stuck and
Mm-hmm.
I want to be here so bad. I've got
Mm-hmm.
so much game left in
Yeah.
me. I got my second chance to game and people aren't letting me play.
Mm-hmm.
I if she could have gotten close with the 3 tight bronze, not blondes. That would be a different social experience. If she could have gotten in with Adam,
Mm-hmm.
Megan, and Rosie, or if she could have gotten in with Jordan, I think if she could have somehow built a relationship with Jordan,
Yeah.
maybe Megan from Brains too, and then having that Griffin, to kind of balance that out.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah. It,
they
it's
wouldn't let
it's
her.
it's hard
So
to say. These are fast games, right? The merge happened last night, and it's mid the next
yeah,
day, and it's just time is precious, and it's hard to you think about Survivor. It's even in the new expedited format, it's like day 16, 17, right? And so
yeah,
at the very least, even if when you get to the final 8, when you get the final 10 or 9, but you've known them for 5 days, and these players have had 1 day, and it's rough.
it's hard, and it's hard to Why would I want a new person in when I have my core that I
Yeah.
trust, that are also my friends? Like,
But welcome to Survivor. Friendships will be broken. There will be blood.
there'll be blood, but not on Jordan's hands yet.
So I think as we wrap up this episode, there's one last thing I want to get your thoughts on. What do you think about the Magic 8 Ball we're seeing?
um, so I went back and looked. I noticed the Magic 8 Ball. I couldn't see the first one. Did it say concentrate? I was trying to see what the little tag said, and then I didn't get what it said at the end. But yeah, I wonder if that has to be something the way it was
Yeah, because I was
presented.
joking because we saw it first last episode. And I was like, you have all these nature shots, and then there's the Magic 8 Ball. It's like, well, maybe this is just what's natural in Bloomington, Indiana. 8 balls just grow out of the ground. But then we're
Yeah.
seeing it come back this episode. It's like, okay, it's not a throwaway. There's something. There's something more going on here. And I did like the fact that it had the little answer from the Magic 8 Ball. I can't remember what it said. And so I'm wondering will there be a Magic 8 Ball a player will find that they can change the game, or maybe the
Oh
first
no,
one
like a
idol?
time. Yeah, or a last ditch ever. If it's just a commentary on when do you don't have the Magic 8 Ball, right? So you
Mm-hmm.
have to go with what you know. But yeah, is there something where you can turn back time, or I don't know, get an extra read on the game somehow?
So we need to get to the Bloomy, and the Bloomy. What's whatever criteria you want to give of who is your player of the week. It could be your favorite player, it could be the player you thought played the best. I mean, this is your time to shine, Rachel. You can say whoever you want. And so I'll give you. Would you like me to go first, or would you like to go first?
You go first.
So
What is happening?
I think there's 2 players that stand out for me this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Um, well, let's go I'll talk about 3, and then I'll make a decision between them. So I think the first player that's going to stand out is Adam, even though Adam's on the wrong side of the votes, he has that tight bond with Megan that he's able to orchestrate this pass off, which is legal in the game, and he's able to not only do that, he was able to wheedle out a shot in the dark from Jordan, and that is the shot in the dark that makes a difference and gets him through this episode. And so being able to parlay something like that, and I feel like Jordan was hoodwinked. I don't think Jordan realized he was going to play 4. I think if she knew he was going to play at least 3 shots in the dark plus her own, she would have thought very differently. And so I think Adam gets mad props for that. I think Boogie gets a lot of shouts this episode because I think Boogie is probably the reason why you had this group really kind of come together to vote out Megan Wolf. Because even it sounds like from his voting confession end, he didn't know it was going to happen, but we see this amazing kind of ending scene with Stacey saying like, I should have found Boogie earlier, and that would have made a world of difference for my game. And you really get a sense of him pulling people together, and like I love him clocking both Megan, Brains Megan. Soon I only need to say Megan. People know what I'm talking about. We see him clocking Brains Megan in Dallas, and I think that'll be really interesting for the future of the game. And finally, Dallas is in contention because he, to my knowledge, might be like we don't hear, but he seems like he is the swing vote who's dictating how this vote goes.
Yeah, I think he should be in a good position for at least the next couple rounds, depending how it would shake out. He shouldn't be vulnerable, which is always nice. My gut instinct was Boogie just because his reads on the games, his confessionals were pure entertainment, but also right on. Like and then being able to help kind of pull these people cross lines. And he is a previous winner, right? So it's interesting that we hear more about Adam being a winner than Boogie, but maybe that's just because he had immunity. But it is true, like if he hadn't won immunity at that point,
they could beat out this
he
episode.
would have been the easy vote, and then it could have been Bogey and Stacey or something like more predictable, less conflict, less jitters. And so because of his timely win, it was a catalyst.
And so I think because that I'm giving Boogie my player of the week. I'm giving him the Bloomy for me. And so you're welcome to pick someone else. You don't have to pick the same person I pick.
No, I think I say Boogie. Like
all right, so we are
I can't say anyone else. Yeah, look at that.
I will say I'm a little on a trend for the player I pick being voted. The next one voted out. So I went Devontae, and then he was voted out. The next real vote. Megan Wolf was last, though. She's voted out here. I picked Boogie this episode. So Boogie, you need to break the trend for me. Please don't be the third person I select this player of the week and getting voted out. Or maybe it's just because the person at the top is the easiest one to clop off. I don't know.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see if he was the clear vote this round.
Yeah.
I think the power is shaken up a little bit more, but he might be okay next round.
Yeah. Do you have any predictions for next episode?
No, I'm it's so contingent on I got to see these first early confessionals. I would think Bogey's going to keep being vocal about his concerns of the brains, and it will be like, are people going to bite? I don't think Adam's going to go home. I think that's going to be an easy, let's make it Adam, and then someone else with power or as a threat will go home instead.
I think Brains Megan is targeted next episode.
I think I could see that too. But I don't think she'll go home. I think
she has an idol. That's not
she has an idol.
She has an idol.
Right. And again, Bogey was saying she's just a more calm, even player, and her and Jordan seem close to, and she has other people that she's close to, so I don't see her going home yet. But I do think Adam will be the front, and maybe I do think Megan's main will come up, but I think she's gonna be able to swing it in a different direction. To who, I don't know.
Do you have any? Do you have a person? Do you have any winner predictions for the season?
I think through the little list. Man, I'd love a Hannah win, right?
I mean, it would be pretty
It's
fantastic
hard.
to see it pull
It
off.
would it'll be really hard, even if she makes it to final three.
It's final three.
Yeah, it is okay. So even if she makes it to final three, like we've got people that are friends, and I just think it'd be hard to vote for someone that came in fresh, but also I know Hannah knows how to pitch herself.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan, if they let Jordan get to the end, I cannot believe it, but Jordan could be a clear winner. I think Dallas social game, and if he can prove himself, I could see that going.
Mm-hmm. What's exciting is I think everyone in this game has a story to tell.
Right. There's no GOAT, there's
Mm-hmm.
no someone that's like, they don't deserve it.
Mm-hmm.
It could be like I don't know how she's gonna get there, but Mia's keeps scraping by, and she has this great story, right? And then she has an idol too. So man,
Mm-hmm.
can she make some moves?
Yeah, Mia getting the end, that would be wild. I feel like Mia. I think Mia is not make it to the end, but if she makes it, it would just be absolutely wild.
Right. So yeah, we'll see how it.
Yeah. Valencia, we do have confirmation that that surviving Bloomington is always the final three. So if Hannah makes the final three, she's good. There's no dreaded final three photo she has to deal with. So as long as if Hannah makes the final three, we're in for a party at the end. I'm sure.
Let's go. Let's go.
I did love Devontae's ending thing. Is like, man, I would be impressed if I'd be happy and impressed if Hannah got to the end. And
I saw that.
We saw
he was such a fun player. I was sad to see him go.
And we saw Megan rooting for Adam and Rosie and maybe Jordan as well. I think she said Jordan.
If they let a previous winner get to the end, like they should have it, right? But if like she's not.
We'll have to see. It'll be interesting. Yeah. Rachel, is there anything else about the episode or that you want to talk about as we wrap up here?
Oh no, I think we got everything. Okay. I'm looking forward to next episode.
Is there anything you want to shout out or anything you're up to you want to share?
Oh, I'm just gonna pitch Mole, Ohio applications. People are still taking. Yes, it's in the middle of cornfields, but we've got a lot to offer in Ohio. It's worth the trip, and you'll have a great time. Tim is an awesome behind-the-scenes host, and Hannah's great on screen. So,
where can players find the application for the Mole, Ohio?
That's a good question. Instagram, I know. If you follow the Mole Ohio on Instagram, you should be able to see a link or stories. Or you can find me, and I will give you direct information.
So feel free to message Rachel. I've posted the Mole Ohio Instagram in the chat if you want to learn more. But thank you everyone for tuning in today. Thank you, Rachel, for taking the time to talk with me. Episode 10 should drop next Saturday, and we'll have to see what the follow of this double tribal is.
I can't wait. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you all for listening, and have a great rest of your day.
Take care.